Yeah. Well, hello, Deb. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing great. Welcome back. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this January 2022. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. And we are live. I am ThatKimberly, and this is.
It's Deb.
I
It's
always
Deb.
forget which way should I point.
I know you did. You pointed the right way, I think. But
Okay.
watch it be turned around on on the video, and we look stupid. So
It's
that's
okay.
okay.
It happens.
So today we're going to talk about marketing your startup or your business,
Yes.
and this is something that we both are familiar with. So, and it's fun to talk about. So I'm excited to share all the tools and tips and things that we have for you today.
Me too. But before we get into that, we want to make sure everybody knows that we are live on Facebook, Deb and I's Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. So wherever you're watching from, make sure you let us know. Maybe put where you're watching from. And if you have a question, we absolutely want to answer those questions while we're live because our software kind of makes it a little bit harder to go back after the fact, but we do our best to do that live. And on the replay, you could always just put hashtag replay and where you're watching from. And if you have a question on the replay, then just tag whoever the question is for. It makes it a whole lot easier for us to find you and to get that question answered. So I think that's everything. So we can just jump on into this.
Sweet.
Yeah, this is just a little, I guess it kind of outlines visually what we have covered. And our topic for today is market the business. So that's what we're going to start with. And number one in marketing your business is to narrow down your target customer. So
Yes.
when it comes to multifamily, there's a lot of customers, huh, Deb?
Right. There's a lot of customers, and there's a lot of directions that you can market and sell your business to. So,
Yes.
figuring out what
The
that
who.
looks like,
Yeah.
and who your consumer is and who your decision maker is very important. And there are tools,
Yes.
thankfully, in our
Yes.
industry that help us out with that.
Yes, I brought up one of them so they can see. This is actually my login. This is a subscription service, AON apartment data. So they've been in business for, I don't want to jinx it, a long time, over 30 plus years, I want to say. So they have a lot of data, but when we're saying who is your customer, you want to find out if it's senior living, if it's conventional, if
Mhm.
it's student housing, affordable, low income. What else is there? Are they a management company or an owner?
Mhm.
Do you know what's the definition, Deb, of the two, management company to owner?
Well, a management company is a third party situation. So
Mhm.
the owner has put the work out to someone else, essentially.
Yeah. So there's a couple layers there, right? Would you not say,
Yep.
in making decisions?
hmm
So this website is the National Multifamily Housing Council, NMHC for short. And this is actually under their research tab. And it lists pretty regularly up to date on who the largest management companies are, who the largest owners are. There's a lot of different
hmm
free information, but then it is also something you have to be a member of. So there are
hmm
some
Yep.
articles, some things are locked, right?
Yes, they do have an enormous amount of information,
Yeah,
and a lot to dig into
it's a
with
great
this
place to
one.
start.
And I'm digging into it currently, but it's very, very helpful. Like I have found this to be extremely valuable.
Yeah. It's a great place to start so that you can define who you're going after. It also, once you figure out if it's an owner or a management person or both,
Mhm.
then you can you need to find out who the decision maker is, right? Like,
Mhm.
how do you go about finding who those decision makers are?
It's a combination of data, so a platform for that information, like you showed ALN, or
Okay.
there are other ones out there,
Hmm.
um, and then a lot of networking, and of course our local associations, being plugged in and having access to our local
Ding, ding,
associations
ding.
is also
Yeah.
very helpful. So yeah.
Do your research, because I do know that you walk into a, I'm gonna tell a little story. I walked into a very large REIT once that will remain nameless, if, and that's a publicly held company traded
Mhm.
on the stock exchange. That's a whole other ballgame. um, and didn't have all my facts straight, and basically had in my lunch they handed me my lunch in a nice technology way.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that was a huge eye opener in my younger years.
Mhm.
But
Do
because I
your
didn't,
research.
yeah, I didn't do my research, I didn't listen,
Mhm.
and I really didn't understand what problem they really needed solved. So it was more about us, the company, than it
Mhm.
was about solving their problem. And that's where I learned the hard way. It was a great lesson, to listen, take notes, and beforehand know what problem you could possibly solve for them. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
doing that
So,
research.
very, very important. Do your research. Find your decision makers,
Mhm.
and understand those levels of approval to get, um, that you may have to get through for your product.
Yeah,
So, your product, depending on what it is, it could be, something that an on-site team can make decisions on. You
good point.
may have to get regionals. You may have to go up. It just depends, and
Yeah,
depending on the type of management company that you or owner or whatever, that
mhm,
can look very differently all the way
absolutely.
around.
Yeah, and making sure, and within your research, you can also find out if it's something that they already have a line item budgeted for, right?
Mhm.
Or if it's something that they're going to have to budget for next year. And we had to learn the hard way back in the day that, nobody had video budgeted. There was no line item for video. It was all lumped into marketing, and eventually it got separated, and there was actually a line item called capture the market back in the day.
Nice.
And then it just became video, of course, when there were multiple companies out there doing video. But it is something that we learned the hard way. Our sales cycle went from almost 3 years down to a month, but it took a long, long time because everybody was different, right?
Mhm.
So for your product currently, or is there a product that you could say, Deb, that you you know
Well,
was a short or long sales cycle?
The way I did, that varies greatly. So
Hmm.
it really depends on what you've put in your funnel. Like, depending on the size of the company, the larger the company, the more layers there are, the longer the sales cycle takes. If you're dealing with a smaller company and you're dealing with an owner directly, that process can move really quickly because you're not having to,
Yeah,
um, present to 5 other people, and
get everybody's buy-in. Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
So it really, really depends on, the client. And I think
yeah,
it's really important to make sure that you have a good combination of all of the things in your funnel. Don't just
100%.
focus
Yeah,
on your big guys that are potentially going to take you a year to close.
yeah,
You need to sprinkle a little bit of everything in there.
yeah, and maybe start locally and small. I've had people,
Mhm.
actually somebody from ALN's going to be on our program in January, February, and one of the things they mentioned was, a lot of, they always suggest to people to start smaller, not trying to go after the biggest fish out there. It
Mhm.
sometimes it's a blessing and a curse for sure.
Yeah,
So
totally.
so then the number two, bum ba bum, I'm is developing your brand identity. Bum.
Okay. So yeah, we'll talk like values.
Yeah. So this I
Mhm.
feel is a great,
Mhm.
because this goes into how you communicate your story. Like for something like one app, I'm just going to go ahead and use,
Mhm.
you tell your story, right?
Right.
About how,
Or how it all began,
yeah.
and it really comes down to our founder story
Hmm.
and what drove him to create a solution for a problem that
Yeah.
he experienced, within the leasing process of multifamily.
Yeah.
So, he's got an inspiring story that is important to us, that we I tell people we're very mission based and mission minded. Like, not only do we have a solid solution for our client that's valuable, but
Hmm.
we're also doing good and helping people, and that's important to us, and
Yeah.
we like to share that.
Yeah. So whatever your mission is, whatever your
Mhm,
value, you communicate that within your pitch, within
mhm,
your verbiage on your website, within all your marketing material, right? Like when you talk about your product, it is sprinkled within your presentation. I've
mhm,
noticed. So it definitely is something. And if you don't have that, then you need to think long and hard, because it's
mhm.
definitely something that I feel more people, they want to be connected with the brand or the company that they're doing business with. They want to,
Right.
what's the word I'm looking for?
They want girl, don't even make me up a word. What's wrong with you?
It's just it really helps to
Mhm.
figure out what those are, what your values, and communicate back to your customer what those are. So
Right.
creates that emotion, the urgency.
Mhm.
And then having a consistent brand identity, not just from your caps
Mhm.
or your tchotchkes or your website, like
On the
every
top.
opportunity. Oh,
On
look
the
at
top.
that. Oh, hold on. Oh, but oh yes.
Or your T-shirts.
Or your
Yep.
t-shirts. I
Mhm.
shout
Yep.
out to Tito for he had
Yeah.
his face and a QR code. I went ahead and put, my clients' information, QR code, and social
Yep.
media. But any chance you get, brand yourself,
Shout
brand
out
your
to
company,
Tito for the inspiration.
huh?
Shout out to Tito for the
Yeah,
inspiration.
for sure. Tito definitely inspired me to use that
Mhm.
QR code. We'll definitely have to have him on explaining some of his unique marketing
Yeah.
tips. So it's very important, and it makes you stand out in a crowd for sure,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
So number two,
Build your online presence.
don't you love that this part?
Yeah. Um,
I love it
yeah.
and I hate it.
I know. Well, it's a love-hate relationship with this.
Yes.
Because this is a full-time job.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
This isn't just a little, like, tweaks and updates to a system every now and then. This is a full-on job for someone, and
Mhm.
it's very important. And if you do it correctly and you do it well, it can be very valuable.
Yes.
But yeah.
And I always like to tell people, you're none of it set it and forget it. Like that's the one
Mhm.
thing that really has been, I beat that drum. Like it's not a set it and forget it. So you definitely, when you're, we're going to share some tools here at the end of resources. But like when you're going to have your website created, if you can't afford in the beginning to do it yourself, there are free tools. But if you can't afford to have someone do it properly, make sure you get 3 bids, and know that you're probably going to redo or update on a yearly basis, if not more. You should. Like
Mhm.
it's
Right.
not something that should be sitting up there, especially as quickly as technology changes.
Mhm.
So you want to be mindful of those things, that it's not a set it and forget it.
Absolutely not.
So we're going to be going through some of the website resources, but one of them, is Wix. Go hire
Mhm.
a freelancer, or hire a company like Spherix, that creates websites and knows what they're doing, that
Right.
can support you when technology changes. That's something that I truly, um,
Value.
yeah, value. I don't. It's something that's not all startups have in the beginning. So you definitely just have to figure out the what fits you best, for sure.
Right. And social media, and I think social media still is crazy as it is. It's a machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still
You gotta
funny
have
to me. It's still funny to me when people want to still fight against it.
it.
Um, and that still happens a lot.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
but yeah, I think that is one of the most powerful tools that we have in our pocket.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Because
jump on
we
that
don't need.
one. And it's not set it and forget it. And it's
Correct.
not, duplicated in every outlet have the same information, because not
Mm-hmm.
every outlet has the same audience. Like, you've got to educate yourself on these things, these changes.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention to what they're doing to their algorithms. Like I said, everything on here is a job, a big job
A
for
full time.
someone.
Yeah. And if you don't know where to begin, just start recording and talking even if it's just to the camera about your product, about your knowledge. If you educate and entertain, you'll definitely come up with a lot of a lot of content that you can chop up and use, whether it's on a blog, on your social media, on the different channels, on your website. Like, take pictures, record video of everything if you can, everything, and then you dice it, chop it up, and
Like,
distribute
which
it
one?
in the different places, including your email. Using an email tool. Email's not dead if you do it properly. Using email
That's a
tool.
whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah, it could be a whole episode all by
Oh,
itself,
totally. Yeah.
for sure.
We should do that.
So if there's somebody out there that wants that episode, or wants to talk,
Any of
be
these.
an educator on
Reasons.
that episode, we want you to come and talk to us, right?
Absolutely.
Um, but it is something that you can connect with your audience. You can keep them up to date, not spamming them, and giving them information that even if it's not yours, right? Even if it's not something that you sell, it's something that interests them. They're going to find more value in that, and they're going to find you. They're going to look to you
Right.
eventually for that information.
Share the wealth, the knowledge.
For
Do it.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And then conversion tools. So if you are leading someone to your website and then they fill out a form and you get an email, you can track all that. There's widgets that you can put on your website. There's bots that you can put on your social media channels, chats, and all that, so that you don't miss anything and that you can convert those leads into actual sales.
Yes. Track everything. Just track it from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's the best way. You don't have to go backwards.
What's your favorite conversion tool?
Um, there, there's actually one called Perk.
Nice.
That it's basically a tool that was a company that started in the automobile industry, and they have a widget that would sit on your website, and as people are searching for it, it's picking up information, so that when the person finally goes to ask or goes to email, this widget knows just about everything about you and what you're trying to buy or what you're looking for and things like that. And that way the salesperson can talk knowledgeably about the right product. Because I don't know about you, but it drives me crazy when I call someplace or I go someplace and they're trying to sell me something that I have no interest in buying or I don't need, but I'm trying to get something else, and that's
Yeah. It's very
nowhere.
helpful, but yet creepy at the same time.
Yeah. Yes, it is, but it's the way of the world. Data, data, data. So last but not least,
Marketing your startup.
Mm-hmm.
Generate and nurture leads. Now, my expertise in this comes from multifamily, because, this is just what I've done for so long.
Yes.
But definitely plug into your trade, do your associations, trade shows, events. I think that multifamily is just a very relationship driven industry.
Yes.
And, it's important to get that FaceTime and make those connections. And we have a lot of strong tools in our back pocket in, pretty much any major market in the US.
Yes,
So just dive in, plug in, and, do the things, and it'll work out for you. You got to invest
absolutely.
your time and effort into it, though.
Yeah, and not just and we probably should put events and trade shows and then
Mhm,
online, because if you drive them back,
mhm,
so like this was a QR code that drove them back
mhm.
to, is it there? Can you see it?
Yep.
They drove them back to the actual website so they could fill out a form. It drove them to the form to fill out for more information. So instead of us handing them a card, we would just, let them scan our shirts and drove them back to because then we could then capture their information. That's what you
Mhm.
want. You want to be able
Right.
to follow up with them or set appointments with them before or after, and before and after the trade show. Give them an incentive or give them a reason to talk
So
to you.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, to
Absolutely.
learn about your business. And then following up, like a lot of
Mhm.
times, I don't even know what the percentage of people who don't follow up, but at a website, not a website, at a trade show,
Mhm.
that people don't follow up after. There's a number out there that I know people have spit out about the number of um, failed attempt. Like once they do the trade show, there's nothing happens in the follow up. And so what's
Mhm.
the point, right?
Right, right.
So definitely
Yeah, I think
following up
it's
with
setting up
leads.
something that's efficient for that, and then doing
Yes,
your research to figure out the best way to get your message out there and to do that follow-up in a
100.
good way, like, that's effective, not just a basic email. Like,
Yeah,
that's definitely something that I'm working on right now
yeah.
for our team.
Yes, Tammy agrees with us. Thank you, Tammy. We appreciate you.
Hi, Tammy.
Um, and then last but not least, then closing it, closing, delivering the actual product or service, and then training them. Like
Mhm.
that's huge in the nurturing to keep them coming back. Because if you
Right.
just sell them and then they never hear from you again
Yes.
until
Your sales are not set it and forget it either.
correct in multifamily.
Yeah.
Have a you have to have that salesperson, you have to have
Mhm.
the support for the salesperson, so somebody who does the customer service,
Right.
or execute, a trainer that actually puts the product into place, and then if it's you or someone else that comes behind them, client success manager or something that helps them
Mhm. Right.
uh, continue, so they come back to you
That's what yep. You
yeah,
have
for
to
more of
yeah.
their yeah, so they
You have
recommend you to someone else.
yes, you have to stay, client facing in some capacity, and you have to make sure that you're listening to your clients, that there has to be that relationship there in order for that to go well.
100%. I don't it kind of, it kind of makes me wonder when people that don't do that, even that are not even in multifamily. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Here's my favorite page.
So here are some of the resources we put together for everyone to see. Let me zoom back. Let me unzoom us. There we go. So when it comes to websites, like I said, um, there, Canvas now you can do like a single page, but there's WordPress, there's Wix, and there's Squarespace, or you can hire a contractor, or you can hire a company like
Mhm.
Spherix to
Yep.
do your website. There's lots of companies out there. Linktree and Shoreby are microsites that
Mhm.
basically that let you set up links to just other places, other websites, your social media. So if it's a direct link, you could do that as well. And there's a free service plan in one of those or both of them.
Mhm.
Um, Marketing automation, HubSpot, ClickFunnels, Drip, Feed Blitz, and Groove Funnels. I've only used HubSpot and ClickFunnels before, but automation is huge.
Right.
Um,
Design.
yes. Oh, design.
And Canva, we love it. We can't say enough about it. So Canva's definitely my go-to.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and Vistaprint I found has been a pretty real, quick,
Mhm.
easy way to print from your letterhead to
Business
envelopes,
cards.
cards, which we got an alternative solution for you. We're going to tell you about real quick in a second. But for anything and everything, they even do this stuff now, right?
Right.
T-shirts and caps and all of it, tchotchkes.
And
So
then of course, if I can't make it in Canva, I have to go to Upworks or Fiverr.
yeah, you can hire someone to do the contracting.
Done and done.
Done and done. So the latest and greatest that Deb introduced me to is the electronic business card.
Yes.
The Popples.
The Popple. I love the Popple because you can get your QR code. You can post it anywhere. You can, I mean, it's awesome. So
it bumps. It just, you bump on the side. I bought my little Popple thing here. It's a
Popple. We just bump.
And
it will immediately give you this page over here to the right and all of the ways that you can connect with me or Kimberly. So highly recommend Popple, especially now that we're living in a germ world of everyone not wanting to touch and exchange things. And I think Popple's been great.
Yeah.
They have tons of different products that are a lot of fun
that have the QR, that have that little sensor on them, so that it's an electronic hand touch. What's it called? Hands free.
Right.
So
they have
exchange information.
Keychains, bracelets.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of, you can get a lot of ideas there. You can also get them branded and customized.
Yes, absolutely.
So
it's pretty cool. So we highly recommend those as well. And then it's a fun way to educate your clients.
Right.
On top of that.
So. And if you do order, there is a 20% off that you can get, and you can just scan that little QR code right there,
or use Deborah
Ruin.
Yeah, coupon code.
But yes, I love the Popple.
So more great things to keep in mind. A copywriting tool for those who are not good at copywriting like me. There is Jarvis AI, which is awesome. It helps you write everything out with just a few clicks of some words of your own, and then they pretty much give you different options. Or of course, you can go to hire a contractor at Fiverr and freeup.com and Upworks. But maybe trying Jarvis. They do have a free trial that so you can try it out, but it definitely makes your life easier when it comes to copywriting. And then the CRMs, HubSpot, Zoho, Salesforce, Hatchbuck, or just Google the top CRM and try some out. Right. But track everything. Like, start with the CRM from the very beginning, even if it's just you.
Right. There's so many options out there. I'm hearing more about HubSpot. I'm currently in Zoho. Zoho's fine. I've worked in Salesforce.
Yeah.
They're all good, they all have a lot of benefits. So definitely check into those.
Yeah. And then organizational tools. There's Trello, Evernote, Monday, Calendly. That was the best thing I ever did. Was I pay for it. I love it. You can set it. It's something that allows you, instead of going back and forth on which day are you available, you send them a link that's already hooked up to your calendar, and it shows the other person times of availability for them to pick from.
Yes, love it. It's very, very helpful.
It is awesome. And then of course you want to have your social media. These are just there's so many. These are some of just the top ones that I put up there. Answerthepublic.com is not a social media site, but it's a way to gather is a way to figure out topics for you to write or talk about. So it definitely is something that I tell people about. If you're kind of like, I don't know what to write about, I don't know what to post.
Right. I forget about that one too. And that is a really cool website.
Yeah. And then something that I always tell my clients about that I think is super important is use a hashtag anytime you put anything out there. It's important because...
Yes, tell everyone why it's important. And she's gone. let's give her a minute and see if she hops back on. Where did she go? Whoop, technical problems. Whoop.
I'm
Hey,
so
it
sorry,
happens.
Deb.
It happens. It happens.
You know, I
It's
know.
life.
OMG.
Alrighty, so tell us why hashtags are important.
Yes. No matter what, whether it's in Google, MSN, Twitter, you name it, if you put in, like I just put in hashtag industry live, and the first thing is a company in India, but then there's one of our lives with Elaine, and then when you go over to videos, it actually brings up just about all our videos and content, and then images. Let's see what images bring up. Ooh, there is. Well, we don't have it on many of our images. I guess I got to work on that one. But it's still, I highly recommend using your company as a hashtag. It's super important. It definitely is something that's not going away. So
how many hashtags should someone use in a single post? Because I feel like people go overboard.
it depends on who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Or who you like. So Instagram, they say it's 15 to 20. Some say that, they've changed that up. I got to go back and get the latest update. Some of the people I follow are still using hashtags on Instagram, but then on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, I typically use 2 to 3. Sometimes I even use them within the description. I don't care. I want it to be found. I want the content to be
Just
found.
hashtag it.
I put it at the bottom. I usually put it at the bottom. On YouTube, I put it at the top of the description. But I mean, 1 or 2, come on, people. It's not hard. And they should be specific to you. Like, don't use the word apartments, because there's a bazillion people already using that, right? You can't own a hashtag, but you can dominate it, is what I tell people. So dominate your hashtag, right? It's
dominate your hashtag.
It's super important. So yeah, I apologize for my little glitch there.
Oh, well, that happens. That's technology. But
yeah.
That's it. That's it for today. That was fun. That was a lot of information. So please reach out for questions. And if there's more that you want to hear about, if we touched on something that you found very helpful and that you want to dive into further, let us know. Or if you are an expert, you want to share your knowledge.
Or even if you're not an expert, but you got something to say, come on.
Yes, come on over. You can email us.
Oh yeah.
You can find us on LinkedIn. We're around. So
there's our email.
Yep. Email us, and we want to hear from you.
For sure. We will be back here next Tuesday, same time, same bat channel.
Yep.
Different topic. Our next topic for next week is, before I lose the I'm going to tell you, we might have a guest. I'm not sure. Oh, selling your products and services. So maybe we do a little skit. I don't know.
Maybe.
You're like, no, Kimberly.
Maybe. We'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
Anyways,
have a great Tuesday, everyone.
Yes.
And until next week, be kind.
Bye.
Bye.